decaffeinated. There's a sense that this is a game that kind of lacks the significance that it should have, and in particular, of course, lacks the significance that Madrid derbies have had over the last 4 years, where we've seen 2 Champions League finals between these two teams. We've seen a Champions League semi-final, a quarter-final as well. We've seen league games where it has felt like it's going to have a very significant impact upon the title. But this time, that's not really the case. In fact, there's a slight awkwardness about it from Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid's point of view. So this is a game that kind of feels like it sort of doesn't matter, or at least that it's come at a bad time. It's in the middle, of course, of those European quarter-finals. Real Madrid playing against Juventus, Atletico Madrid playing against Sporting Lisbon. I think it's been helped a bit by the fact that both of them won the first leg. Both of them feel like they are on their way to the semi-final. So that's at least created a sense that these are teams that you want to watch. These are teams that are playing quite well. And it also means that there isn't the desperation or the need to rest players ready for those European second legs quite as much as there might have been if they'd got negative results in their first game. So I think both teams will play with a strong side. I think it will feel like a derby up to a point. But of course, they both know that at best they're competing for second place. Now, Real Madrid need to beat Atletico for that to be the case. Atletico, I suppose, in a way, even if they were to finish third, it wouldn't be the end of the world from their point of view. But these two teams now know that in all probability, Barcelona are going to win the league. And in fact, from Real Madrid's point of view, there's a recognition that if they beat Atletico Madrid, probably what they would achieve would be the acceleration of Barcelona becoming champions. Ultimately, given that Barcelona are going to get there anyway, that doesn't matter too much. So they will play to win. They will both play strong sides. It will be a derby, but it won't be quite the derby that it's been over recent years. And it will be, to use that word, a little bit decaffeinated.
A win for City will see them crowned Premier League champions. But is there a bit of a weird feeling going into this?
Yeah.
Considering what...
I've got it as well. In fact, I'm shaking all over with it.
But considering what happened at Anfield and then what's going to happen at the Etihad midweek,
yeah.
Is this game as important as maybe we thought it would be?
From a neutral point of view, and we are,
yes.
Although some people wouldn't,
yep.
don't believe it, you can't convince them. From a neutral point of view, I'm not even thinking too much. I've got a Manchester derby tomorrow for starters, that City can win the league in it. With Pep's first league win, domestic...
Yes.
His first league title in England after struggling last year. After a great season. It's a huge story, or it kind of should be. But it feels now, and it's certainly from my perspective, I'm only thinking, can they come back against Liverpool next week in the Champions League? You know, if I was to be off the cliff tomorrow for 24 hours and somebody said, oh, City lost to Man United 2-0, so I'd be like, well, they're going to win the league next week. But can they come back against Liverpool in midweek? I think that kind of the big story.
That's the key point, isn't it? City are going to win the league.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what happens at the weekend. So that's why it kind of takes a shine off. So what do you do if you're Pep going into this?
Well, I think from a neutral's point of view, that would be the obvious approach. I think from the fans, the City fans, it's important for them winning the league against United, given the history between these two clubs, being branded the noisy neighbours. I fully expect the City fans to come there wanting to see their team win the league in front and against Manchester United. Now, for us, as far as we're concerned, this is a City team built not just to win domestic league titles, but to go deeper in the Champions League than the quarter-final. So maybe you can understand Pep maybe being a little bit cautious because the league's already won for all intents and purposes. But that's just kind of the professional approach away from the euphoria of the fans, who will take that same emotion into the game in midweek. That's not an issue for the fans at all.
You're right, Shaq. If you split it, you've got the fans who clearly want to be the top dogs in England, clearly want to rub the United fans' nose in it. That's natural. Then you've got the manager who is thinking, right, this would be great, but really, I need to be doing this against Liverpool in midweek. We need to find a way, and they can, it is possible, we need to find a way to get this done in midweek. Because if they win the league at the weekend and they lose the Champions League and don't make it through, there are people, and we'll probably do the same, that will say, well, is this really success for Man City?
What is success?
I know, but people will love that.
Right.
And say, so that the importance of the Liverpool game, in that sense, far outweighs, in my opinion at the moment, the importance of the United game.
Just quickly, what do you think is going to happen at the weekend? Do you think they're going to win?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Manchester City were offered Paul Pogba and Mkhitaryan. Yeah, what does it say about Pogba?
I'm not sure. And again, it's trying to digest a lot all at the same time here. And this came at a time when you figured Pogba was still working his way back into Mourinho's good books, or so it would seem. But then to have the agent supposedly offer Pogba Mkhitaryan to City, strange. And again, from a Manchester City point of view, there you are chasing Alexis Sanchez. Manchester United kind of hijacks that deal or pulls that away from you, and you respond with Pogba and Mkhitaryan. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense tactically for City. It's not what they were looking for. It's not what they need right now.
But Raiola's come out and said, you know, he wouldn't offer it to Pep. He'd offered it to Manchester City. But you're playing us to play under this dog of a person, you're saying. This is just...
No,
it's just a soap opera.
I mean, the Mkhitaryan thing, I don't... But, I mean, Pogba, I mean, it's a soap opera, but on the face of it, you know, it would be a struggle for Pogba to get in the City side.
Yeah.
Xhaka just mentioned, and people would say, oh, what are you talking about? Remember, what I'm talking about is, one, he needs to up the tempo of his game. Two, he slows it down too much. And three, they play at pace. Now, he ain't replacing De Bruyne, he ain't replacing Fernandinho, he ain't replacing David Silva, he ain't replacing Sterling when he plays the 4-3-3, not replacing Sané on the other side, and he's certainly not playing up front ahead of Sergio Aguero. So City's need is not Paul Pogba at this moment. No doubt he's a fantastic player, but this is just nonsense.
What does this say about his time at Manchester United? Is it done?
Well, I think...
If you're starting to hawk him around to other clubs, especially your City
we
rivals...
spoke about it, and I said I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised in the summer if they get a buyer in big money that he'll try and offload him and take that cash, add to it, and go in a different direction. Wouldn't be surprised.
Look, I maintain Paul Pogba is an incredible talent. If Mourinho can somehow get the best out of him, he walks into any team. But at the same time, if your player's on the outside, you understand your agent kind of asking questions behind closed doors. Somehow he allowed Raiola allowed it to spill over, and now it's just gotten ugly and embarrassing.
Well, something interesting Xhaka said yesterday is that he thinks Liverpool should go full strength for this time.
Yeah, I've just heard that. I didn't say yesterday, and he just whispered it before we came on air, and I was like...
Do you agree with Mr. Hislop?
I just looked at his injury list.
Yeah, obviously Salah's a massive down.
Well, Salah's just been added to that injury list, and it's quite a long one.
Right.
Quite extensive injury list. Midfield, defence. If you add to that, again, if he tries to play... And we saw this before. I've seen this in the papers today. Oh, if Mo Salah's fit, he'll play. Why?
Yeah.
What, to add to his goals tally? He has to wrap players in cotton wool in this game because they're going to be facing a barrage in midweek at Man City. And if it takes a Mo Salah to pinch a goal, and it takes another 72 hours for a groin problem or a muscular problem to heal, then that's what you've got to do. And I know they're fighting for the top four, but I think priorities for me go to next week.
Look, the thing for me is, you don't play players who aren't fit. I'm not saying throw everybody who's 75% in, but this is a game that you can win. And I think second place is still very much in play, especially when you consider...
Oh, Shaq, who cares about second place?
Hold on.
Surely you've got a big Champions League tie.
It's Liverpool and
Why play Firmino? Why play Van Dijk? Why play these players? Why do it?
Liverpool and Manchester United. You get the better of Manchester United. You take that regardless of where it is in the table. Don't play players who aren't fit. But at the same time, I don't see the point in playing all kids.
But why risk Van Dijk, for example?
If it's a risk, then you don't play him.
No, but no, it's not a risk. He's 100% fit, Van Dijk.
Well, then play him.
But why? Why take that risk?
He could trip and fall down the stairs.
Oh,
You're going to stop him from walking upstairs.
What's he more likely to do? Oh, don't give me that, Shaka. Don't give me you can fall down the stairs.
You play players. Players want to be playing.
I know the one thing is, I mean, I see where you're going here because defenders, I mean, they're going to have to, they'll be defending a lot.
Of course they will.
In midweek, because it's coming. Whether it will happen, the 3 goals, I don't know. Whether Liverpool can pinch one going forward, I don't know, but it's coming. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at it. I think there's a slight role reversal here, in my opinion, from the Man City game. Man City, Man United, the Manchester derby, is they could do with a bit of momentum again. Pep's team. Potentially stronger team, he will feel. Get some momentum again, try and get that league title, and then push forward to try and get the goals back. For Liverpool, I think it's a bit of protectionism. That's why I think he'll field a more of a weakened side, and Pep and that derby might field a stronger side because their objectives at the weekend, I think, are slightly different.
Make sure Van Dijk takes the elevator everywhere.
That's right.
Could fall, you know.
Yeah, it could do. Liverpool massive favourites. According to the SPI, 69% to take all 3 points from Goodison. Welcome to Extra Time. The things you learn talking to footballers. Anyway, incredible scenes here that we've got someone going on holiday that isn't Shaka.
Hold on. You know how long this since I've been on holiday?
Ah, Shaka.
I haven't been on holiday in like 6 months.
That is definitely not true.
6 months I'm going for.
You went to Trinidad and Tobago for like a week.
Ah, okay. But once in 6 months.
Oh, there you go.
You've never, I bet you've never in your time here ever came up short on your holidays.
Definitely
I
not.
bet you've always gone over and managed to mask it somehow, I don't know.
Nope. I'm short every year.
Would you like to give us any details of
No,
your holiday?
no, I
Craig?
wouldn't, no.
No? Okay, all right then.
I'm just taking a week off here.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, that's
Which
what,
I'm-
that's what a holiday normally is, yes.
I mean, that's my right, I believe.
As is mine.
I thought I would do it now before our new system of booking holidays is implemented.
It's a little
meeting
convoluted,
that I didn't go to.
Yeah, it's a bit convoluted, the new system.
Yes. We're using the old system.
Yes.
Whether the new system is in place or not, the old system will remain in place where I email our boss
Yep.
and then I await.
It's not like you to go against new systems.
No, but I will be doing it.
Should Gareth Bale leave Real Madrid or listen to his national team manager and stay at Madrid?
Is that what Ryan Giggs said?
Negotiate my own time off.
That's the first thing.
I'm the Mino Raiola of time off.
Had Mourinho spent 300 million on defenders and lost to Liverpool 3-0, he would have been put to the sword by English media for the entire season. Do you think Guardiola is treated differently by the English media?
This is a Man United infatuation. It's a bit like the answer to this first is just ridiculous because he had a bad night. He did have a bad night, but they've won the league by a country mile.
Yeah.
United have spent a lot of money and are miles off the league, and are not in the Champions League either because they spent the money and had a bad night against Sevilla,
Yeah.
who are not very good. The other side of the coin is some Man United fans were going, well, Josie went to Anfield and got a draw.
What did they?
Yes, as if that had some relevance to Man City going there and not having a good night in the Champions League quarter-final. I mean, it's bizarre.
I said that after the league game as well.
absolutely bizarre.
Listen, I'm critical of managers when they spend a lot of money and then bore you to death.
Right.
You cannot accuse Pep Guardiola of that.
No.
So that, as a result, the question is totally irrelevant. So, you know, at the same time, clearly as a Manchester United fan, nobody criticized, and I certainly don't think Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy should be at all tarnished because he was able to spend more money than other teams in the Premier League. I don't think it had anything to do with it. I'm going to extend that same courtesy to Pep Guardiola.
Oh, you're very courteous, Shaq.
I try.
Yeah, that's it. No. Do United fans not remember this Sevilla game or what?
No.
No.
They seem to have conveniently forgotten
Yeah.
that Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, with one of the biggest budgets, went out at home to Sevilla, right? Tweet in about that.
Does
Can I get back to the golf?
Does Liverpool have a realistic chance with the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, given they are sometimes vulnerable at the back?
They have a chance because of how
See what they did to City?
yeah, because of how good they are going forward in particular. We've spoken about how much better they are at the back since Van Dijk arrived. If they get through against Manchester City and the others do, as this tweet seems to suggest, they'll still be fourth favourites at that point. But yes, you're in the semi-final, you've got a shot.
What happened in
good
the golf
shot.
thing? Craig reacted.
Tiger just missed a putt.
Is he going to make the cut? Do you want him to make the cut? Where do you stand
Yes,
on
I
Tiger?
want to see him do well.
Did you always love him, or have you fallen back in love with him?
Might be a bit. You may have taken that a bit far.
Well, obviously, I mean in the.
I'm a
in the
huge
sports
fan of
sense.
golf, as you know, and I
Yes.
like to, and I respect.
But when he was winning everything, did you like? Because some people got sick of it, didn't they? And they wanted to see him fail.
No.
What Dan's trying to say
No.
is he got sick of it. That's what he's really trying to say.
No.
When it comes to golf, I'm not in the business of liking to see people fail. I like to see them play well.
What business are you in? You'd like to see people fail.
I'm not going to mention any names. There was somebody who became a manager once, and I may have been quite keen to find the results out.
Oh,
I remember
Yeah, you
that. I
remember?
remember
No,
that
that's
quite
enough.
well.
this person is suggesting that we obviously sent out the tweets. Any questions? Didn't you guys admit you make up the questions anyway?
No.
Did you just make that up?
Well, did he make that up?
No, did you just make that up? I think you made that up.
I made up that question.
I think you made up that question about us making up questions.
How can we make questions up when we put genuine people's Twitter handles on them?
I don't know.
People are very
I don't know.
paranoid.
Well, have a lovely holiday.
When you going?
Why are you asking?
When you going on holiday?
Why are you asking?
I didn't ask.
I'm paranoid about it now.
When you going?
ESPN FC is back.
I've got
on
Sunday,
your
so I'm going to
screen.
miss the Sunday show. I love.
But you've got the podcast.
Yeah, listen to the podcast, Craig.
Or you can stream it live on the app.
I'm thinking
Yes.
about.
That little E thing there
Well,
at the
it's still
bottom.
in the US.
I'm actually thinking about doing my own podcast when I've got a bit of spare time.
What's it going to be called?
Burley's
That's what it's going to be
boiling.
called. Shut up. Shut up.
It's going to be called. Why would you do a podcast in your free time? Have a day off, will you? Have a day off.
Right. Of course, it's been a massive week, especially in the Champions League. Those results are Real Madrid and Liverpool grabbing all of the headlines, but there's still been plenty of time for some tomfoolery here in the studio. It's time for Best of the Week.
What happened to good old heart and soul? Never mind depth.
How do you know? You were eating a cake at the time.
Because there was no game to watch.
All the time you stopped eating the cake was that overhead cake.
There was a lot of heart and soul when you were eating that cake, though.
By the letter of the law, he should have got a second yellow for handball.
See, he's picked up the ball with his finger.
I'm not arguing, he never picked the ball up. So I'm agreeing. It's a finger.
How can you compare? How can you compare?
Hey, it's immobile.
Eh?
It's immobile, not mobile.
Immobile.
Immobile.
Immobile. How do you spell it?
Mobile was a whale.
Oh.
Mobile did.
No.
You know, Zlatan, who's just signed for LA Galaxy and scored a wonderful, wonderful goal. And nobody's mentioned it.
Well, no one's mentioned but you for the last 2 hours.
Zlatan. I think there's a bigger problem here. I think this music is going to run out.
I don't think so. It's on a loop, isn't
No,
it?
it's going to run out. I do think it's going to
Well,
run
the
out.
first 5 minutes of this segment was you talking about Zlatan.
Not running.
Yeah, I do apologise. I may be a bit infatuated with this Zlatan situation. So I apologise to...
Joie de vivre. Gab should know that. Gab, you're a man.
Are you making it up?
of the world.
It literally means the joy of living. It's a way of saying that
Not
you
just
have
a
a certain
pretty face.
enjoyment of life.
Hey.
How do you say it then? Hey, master of Italian. How do you say it? Hey, listen to this. Go on.
Immobile.
Oh, that's what I said.
No, you never.
What's the most impressive April Fool's joke you've played on someone or have been the victim of?
Why are you looking at me?
Oh, was
About nailing the shoes to the floor?
Well, that's an Did someone do that?
Hey, let's get rid of refs and
hold
get
on.
robots there.
It's easier to make the argument that that incident on its own is a straight red.
I'm not arguing. What do you mean a straight red?
Because I've agreed that.
Well, I want to know where these robots are. You're
They're going to referee.
Hey, first step is VAR, second step, robots. Why are you so thingy about this, Gab?
Where are you looking?
This is... I know.
The one with the red light. The one with the red light over here.
He wasn't sat with his big Liverpool goggles at the side.
They were big. and they were
With the window wipers on.
and he still didn't know which camera to look at.
This is no word of a lie. I tied these laces in so many different bloody knots that I could. I saw him come past the window. I saw him come back to his house like that.
Lucky it's the new lightweight, Burley.
Was.
A couple of months ago, this whole
Oh,
studio
yeah,
would have shaken.
could have seen.
I don't think you'd got off the ground that high.
I don't think we'd have hopped more than twice either.
If we don't reset,
You'd have to sit down at the back.
I'm ignoring this. So just ignore these two here.
You can just imagine what it was happening like.
But now, a couple of months in,
Oh, listen to you. Training for a half marathon, apparently. I've never seen you at the gym. You've been in the gym once.
It's no half marathons in the gym.
what's happened to your half
I'm running the
marathon?
Massachusetts half marathon. They
Yeah,
said.
that's what you said.
Yes, it's still going. I'm still getting ready. I'm getting ready.
Doesn't sound like it.
Psych him aside.